In this video, you'll learn how to create Instagram ads in 2022 for e-commerce brands. It is important to stay updated because this platform is changing all the time. And the videos you see on YouTube that were uploaded 1 year ago, 2 years ago, might not be so relevant to how to set up an Instagram campaign nowadays. So I'm gonna take you behind the scenes and I'm gonna show you step by step how to create an Instagram campaign from scratch that will generate you consistently that lead of sales. The first thing that we have to understand when it comes to running Instagram ads is that we have basically two options. One is running ads by boosting a post, and another one is running ads by using the Facebook Ads Manager. As we know, Facebook owns Instagram, so we could run ads from the Facebook Ads Manager. So what is the difference between the boosted posts and running ads through Ads Manager? So one advantage with boosted posts is that it is very easy to set up. Everyone can do that and it doesn't involve any kind of marketing skills. But the downside is that they are only meant for getting some traction on your Instagram page and some engagement and maybe some messages, but they are not engineered to get you sales. Even if you're getting like some traffic, that is not going to convert because the algorithms are showing your ads to an audience who is most likely just to engage with those ads. But that specific group of people, they've never purchased through Instagram ads. So boosted posts, they are only good if you just want to get some likes and shares and all this kind of engagement. But from my perspective, I do not recommend them because if you're a business owner, your main goal is actually to get sales. And this leads me to the next option, which is running ads through Ads Manager. Now, this is a little bit more complex, which I'm gonna show you how to create them. But the beauty of them is that you could have multiple options when it comes to objective, such as brand awareness, traffic, and conversions, which I'm gonna talk more about those. And they are designed and they are engineered to get you quality traffic that is going to convert. When you're using Ads Manager, algorithms are going to display your ads to a group of audience who has some historical behaviors that they've already purchased from our ads. So this group of audience, they are far more likely that they are going to buy, assuming that your ads are good. Now, once you're hyped up with the idea that you might get some sales using Instagram ads, let me show you how to set up using the Ads Manager. So first thing you need to have is a business page or a business account, and basically you link your Facebook page with your Instagram page, so you might run ads through Ads Manager. To find this dashboard, you have to type business.facebook.com/ads manager, and then you are going to see a similar dashboard like this. From here, we'll click on this create button, and this is the campaign objectives that I was talking about. So as you can see, we have multiple objectives. But at the end of the day, if your main goal is getting purchases and sales, I talked a lot about this, is you need to use conversions. When you use conversions as a campaign objective, in that case, the algorithms are going to show and display your ads to that group of audience who is most likely and who are looking for buying specific products that you are selling. From here, we'll click continue, and I would recommend using manual manual conversion campaign if you have this option, because at this moment, this kind of pop-up actually is not at every single ad account. So Facebook and Instagram, they're making consistently these changes and they are updating some new things, but they are not rolling out to every single ad account because they want to test and see how it's working for specific ad accounts, and if it's working, then we're going to roll out for every single ad account. Maybe you're not gonna see this, or if yes, in that case, just use manual conversions campaign. Then we'll click continue, and right here we need to name our campaign. So this campaign is going to be designed for targeting cold audience, people who've never heard about your brand. So we will type something like prospecting/testing. So we'll test some kind of audiences and creatives in this campaign. Other things like campaign details, A/B test, campaign budget optimization, we do not need to cover them at this moment because it is simply not relevant at this phase. So we will click then next, and now we are at the ad set level. So we have to keep in mind that when we are running ads through Ads Manager, now we have kind of 3 layers that we have to go through. So campaign level, which where we are using our campaign objective. Now we are at the ad set level, and then we'll have one more, which is the ad level. So at the ad set level, first thing first is, again, we will name this ad set. Usually I name the ad set as my audience that I am going to target. In this case, I'm gonna have just broad targeting, and also I'm going to add the gender, which is male, and also the age. So it's going to be 18 plus. From here, if you're sending people to a website, just leave it as a default, which is website. After that, you need to use a pixel. Now, the pixel is something that you have to set up, and this is simply a piece of code that is tracking and is kind of registering what people are doing on your website. They have certain events. If you are an e-commerce brand, which this video is designed for e-commerce brands, right? You're going to have some default events such as purchase, add to cart, initiate checkout. So you need to track them, and Facebook and Instagram needs that, because then they are going to optimize your campaigns based on those numbers. From here, we have to also optimize for these events that I was talking about. So we're going to have, like I said, add to cart, add payment info. We need to select purchase. And one question that I get all the time is that, what if my pixel is new? What if, I don't know, I sell more expensive products? Should I use view content and then retarget my audience with purchase? No, you need to use purchase all the time. Why, Archie? Well, because when you're using purchase, you're going after an audience. Basically, you are targeting a specific group of audience who is most likely to purchase. If you are selecting view content, you are targeting, basically, to say in these words, another group of audience who is most likely just to view your content. So the quality of people you are targeting is not so good. And don't worry about these pop-ups like ad set might get 0 purchases. In 99% of the cases, this is simply not true. After that, once we are scrolling down, we have things like dynamic creative. I'm not gonna cover at this moment. It is not something that you need to worry. We're going to use simple ads. Then here at the optimization and delivery section, be sure that it is set for conversions. And if you click here at show more options, attribution setting should be 7 days after clicking or 1 day after viewing. In short, what does this mean? Well, when you are using 7 days after clicking or 1 day after viewing, basically with this, Instagram is going to track and is going to attribute all your purchases based on how people interacted in the last 7 days after clicking on your ad or in the last day after viewing that ad. Let's say, for example, a person, let's name him John, he viewed your ad in the last 12 hours, and then he noticed another ad from your brand. He went to your website and he purchased. That is going to be attributed to your ad set. If he saw the ad but he did not convert it within 24 hours, maybe he converted after 2 or 3 days, that purchase is not going to be attributed to your ad set. So for better optimization, I would recommend the largest range, which is 7 days after clicking or 1 day after viewing. Now, some people might argue and might say that, 1 day click or 1 day view is working better for you. If that is the case, go ahead and use that. But in most of the cases, I noticed this kind of attribution model is working the best. So now let's go ahead and let's talk about the budget and schedule. When it comes to the daily budget, this depends very much on what type of products you sell. If you sell more affordable products, I would start with $15, $20, $30 a day. If you're selling something more expensive, something more premium, in that case, I would actually recommend increasing your daily budget to something like $40, $50, and even $100 a day. Because if you're selling like a product that is worth $1,000, $2,000, and you're spending $10, $15 a day, Well, that is going to take a lot of time until you will be able to optimize your ads. So the budget itself is very important and it should be realistic for your marketing objective. As for the schedule, I like to schedule my ads at 6 a.m. for the next day, but this is just my preference. You could basically launch your ad whenever you want. Some people say that you will launch, let's say, in the evening, and then till 12 a.m. they are going to spend your entire budget, and it is not very efficient. But actually it is not the case. I looked all the time and I observed, even if I set my budget to, let's say, $20 a day and I launched my ad set at 6 p.m. Well, from 6 p.m. till 12 p.m. we have 6 hours left, but actually they're not going to spend your entire budget for that day. They're going to spend like a couple, I don't know, tens of dollars. The most important thing from the ad set level is our audience. So right here you have audiences that you could set, like custom audience, lookalike audience. I'm not gonna talk about those ones because I have other videos where I talk about retargeting audiences, which is equal with custom audience, and also I talk a little bit about the lookalike audiences. Now we are going to talk just a little bit about the location, age, gender, and the detailed targeting. So the location, you're going to set up the target market you are trying to reach. If your business is selling to the US, you're going to set the US. If you're selling to multiple countries, then in that case you have to use multiple countries. But one thing that I would actually recommend, if you could focus only on one market, just focus on one single country, at least until you are making a significant amount of money. Like I'm talking about with 7 figures a year. If you're not making that kind of money, just focus only on one single market and try to be very, very good and at kind of like at top of your customer's mind in that specific country before you move to the second one. For the age, I would like to keep it as broad as possible. Let's say my audience, I know that my audience is around like between 30 to 50 years old. In that case, I will set something like between 25 to something like 55 or 56. I want to have some room when it comes to the age that I think my audience can be. So in that case, the algorithms are going to have more freedom when it comes to targeting my ideal customer. Because the reality is that you cannot outperform and outsmart the algorithms. They are pretty good when it comes to working out with who to show your ads to. As for the gender, I will select all if my product is quite universal. But if I know that, let's say 80%, 90% of my audience is women, in that case, I'm gonna select women. However, if I'm trying to position, for example, my product as a gift, I'm going to target the opposite gender. So let's say that my main audience is women. If I'm positioning as a gift, I'm going to target men. Where you also can play around and target the same gender, but the message should be around that gift approach. Now let's talk about the detailed targeting. This is something that people get quite intimidated, but actually it is not as hard as you think. So in multiple cases, a broad audience, meaning is that you simply use the location, age, and gender, and you leave the detailed targeting blank without any interest, that audience might work very well if your creatives in your landing page is very, very well designed and tailored to your audience. If let's say that you tested the broad audience and it has not worked, what should you do in that case? In that case, I will start off with interests that are really huge. Like I'm talking about tens and hundreds of millions when it comes to the audience size. Because actually, like I said, the algorithms are super smart. What they are looking at more is your creatives and your copies. So I like to have like more freedom for the algorithms when I select my detailed targeting. If your business is in fashion, I'm going to write something like clothing. So as you can see, this audience is really big, like the size is from 1 billion to 1.3 billion. It is really huge, and this is what is going to give a lot of potential for the algorithms to display your ads to an audience who might be interested in your products. Because if your creatives are very, very well created and they speak to a certain audience, even if you're selecting like this broad interest, the algorithms are gonna make sure they're going to show your ads to that specific group of audience. They're not gonna show your ads to like the entire 1 billion of people. That is going to be insane. Now, this entire video is about running Instagram ads. So when we scroll down here, we have the placement. So we need to use, instead of automatic placements, manual placements. After this, we will deselect Facebook, Audience Network, and Messenger. And here we're going to have placements like Instagram Feed, Instagram Explore, Shop, Stories, and Reels. The best placements for Instagram that are converting the best is definitely Instagram Feed, is Instagram Stories, and Instagram Reels. Things like Explore and Shop, this usually does not really convert as much as the other ones that I mentioned. But if you're just launching your first campaign, I would actually recommend using all the placements for Instagram. After that, you will be able to break it down and see where the algorithms are spending more money with which placement, and then you will have to narrow down that. Now with the ad set, we are done. After this, we'll click next, and now we are at the ad level. So first, as usual, we have to name our ad. Usually my ad name is going to be something related to my ad creative. So let's say that my ad is about nature. Well, I'm gonna have something like nature, product name, and then the starting statement, and then the beginning of my ad copy. You'll select your Facebook page, your Instagram account, and from here, I will turn off for now dynamic formats and creative, and you will need to use the format. So you could use single image or video, a carousel, which is an option that people could swipe through and see multiple products, which is a very good option for an e-commerce business, and then a collection. I have an entire video dedicated just to the collection ads. They are very powerful for e-commerce brands, so be sure to check that out after watching this video. From here, you will need to insert the image or video, then the primary text, the headline, and the call to action. Most of the time it's shop now or learn more. For the destination, be sure that you send people to a collection page or to a product page. Do not send them to the home page, because most of the time the conversion rate is much lower when you send them to your main home page. And the last thing at the ad level is using and setting up your UTM parameters. So since iOS 14 update rolled out their update, what had happened, now it is much harder to track what visitors are doing outside of their Facebook ecosystem. Meaning is that it's very difficult for them to see what visitors are doing on your website. With UTM parameters, basically we kind of tag our campaigns, our ads, and our ad sets, and we're sending this information to Shopify. And now at Shopify, the conversion summary, you will be able to see where the purchase came from which ad, from which ad set, and from which campaign. So to set up a UTM parameter is quite easy. We'll just simply have to click here on build a URL parameter. At the campaign source, we will set site source name. And then at the campaign medium, I like to set ad set name. Now here they are warning us that if we are changing, let's say, our ad set name, in the conversion summary is going to be displayed the old ad set name. So this is something dynamic. Once your campaign is published, the ad set name is going to be displayed in your conversion summary as you published in the first time. If you are changing it, it's going to be displayed as it was. For campaign name, it's going to be campaign name, and for campaign content, it's gonna be ad name. We'll click apply, and that's it. Now your UTM parameters are applied, and they are going to work for you, and they're going to tag your campaigns and your ads. I also want to give you some tips when it comes to the ad creative, because this is the most important thing when it comes to getting those consistent sales using Instagram ads. So my first tip for you is using the right formats for each placement. Like I said, we have different placements for Instagram, such as Instagram Reels, Stories, Feeds, Shop, and Explore. right? So for each placement, we have different formats. What is working the best and what fits the best for Reels and Stories, for example, is 9:16, the vertical format. If you're using 4:4 or 4:5, that is not going to look native to the platform, and that is an instant signal to the viewer or to the potential client to skip that ad. And on the other hand, for feeds, the best fit is 4:4 or 4:5. Now, if you're selling more affordable items and you have videos or images, be sure that actually you use more of a native text of that Instagram story. And if not, in that case, you could use your branded fonts. So you have to make sure that your creatives look native and organic to the platform, so people cannot say that this is an ad. To amplify that feeling that this is not an ad, you can also use user-generated content. Basically, these are videos or images created by a user, by an influencer, or by a customer, and this looks like more native, to the platform, and it is very organic, it is very authentic, and it makes people to kind of feel that this brand is authentic and legit and actually does what it says. If you cannot create user-generated content, you can start off with just videos or images taken with your phone. But whether you're using user-generated content or videos and images created by you, you have to know the art of grabbing people's attention, because on Instagram, usually the audience here, they have a much shorter attention span than on Facebook, and you have to know how to create a compelling hook. The hook is basically the actions or some kind of things on your videos and images that are grabbing people's attention. It makes them to stop from scrolling or through swiping through their stories. So to better understand what is a hook, here are 2 examples, and as you can see for both of them, they grab your attention, they are very catchy, and they talk directly to the consumer. The hook should be most of the time around the pain point or around what your ideal customer is looking for. So one is, my face was so bumpy. This speaks directly to an audience who has problems with their skin, with their face, and it makes them feel curious and feel like, I have to watch this video to find out what is going on. And the second hook says something like 1 hack for saving money on luxury bamboo bedding. So for this audience, this is something that they might be interested and they might be looking for. And when you as a human being has an interest in something and a video pops up in your feed, in your story, you're gonna be more likely to watch your entire video. Unless seeing a simple picture with a product and with a white background. That is not so compelling. That doesn't make people curious. Now, after publishing your campaign and using the tips that I've talked so far, it is important to monitor your ads and optimize them at the right time. Otherwise, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. And this is something that I talk more in depth about that in this video. So if you're interested, make sure to click here and I will talk to you soon.